should be seeing my screen over here. We're answering your Wi-Fi questions today. But first, let's meet our amazing panel. So I'm Heather Siblik. It says Dremel. I'm working on it. I did get married. So Dremel, Siblik, whatever you want to call me. My name's Heather, digital marketing manager here at 7SIGNAL. Don, guess what? It's going to be my 2-year anniversary this month. Can you believe it? Isn't that nuts?
I can believe it. It's amazing to have you here.
Oh, I love being here. Very happy.
That's her way of pointing out it's time for a raise, Don.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm just happy to be here. But yeah, so I will be your host and moderator for the session, but let's go down the line. Laurent, Mike, Don, in that order. Do you mind introducing yourself to all of our guests today?
Yeah, who did you say first? Mike? Mike, you kicking things off? Go for it, Mike.
Laurent.
Laurent.
Right.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, it's on the top for the first time. So thank you, Heather. So my name is Laurent Samper. I'm based in Belgium, working from this nice virtual 7SIGNAL office, as you can see. I like that one. And currently in charge of all European accounts, European and UK customer on the technical side and on the sales side. So working on different use cases, all technical issue or Wi-Fi issue, and we are there to help them. So nice to be here.
Awesome. Thank you.
And you know what, Don? I'm 2 years and 2 months working for 7SIGNAL. So 2 months.
I didn't realize you. I feel like you just joined yesterday, man. That's awesome.
2 years and 2 months.
Wow.
That's crazy. Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, you're up next.
All right. Thanks, Heather. And if anybody can hear the weed whacker outside, my apologies. It's lawn maintenance day. Name is Mike Graham, systems engineer here at 7SIGNAL. As Heather said, we're both in Charlotte, North Carolina. Support the sales effort and our resellers. And since we're talking about how long, I think I'm 9 years this summer.
Wow, that's spectacular. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here.
We don't have any gold watches, Mike, but maybe a stainless steel or rubber banded watch.
Rubber band is about right.
Oh, my name's Don Cook. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at 7SIGNAL. I'm going on 5 years in September. So I'm catching up to Mike slowly and doubling up Laurent. Awesome to be here with y'all. And I feel like I haven't been here in a few months. So it's good to be back. My chair was a little dusty, but I'm back in the saddle now.
It's all right. You always have a seat at the panelist table. So we are glad to have you back. All right, Mike, Laurent, Don, let's get into it. Starting with question number 1, which is fun because Mike is going to rant. So question number 1, submitted by our friend Andrew. It's a mouthful. Ready? All right. We spend time designing and implementing a good 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi system. Now we will have to be concerned about someone coming and using 6 gigahertz Bluetooth devices. Haven't we learned enough about the inefficient effects of CCA interference simply due to other Wi-Fi radios that we wouldn't want to add even more interferers with Bluetooth? Why, oh why, are the powers that be not pushing against this? Tell us why.
Yeah, I don't know why, but a little background on that. If you haven't been following, and I really haven't been watching it that closely either, but about a year ago, Bluetooth SIG, the owners of Bluetooth, announced that they were going to form a working group to develop a standard for Bluetooth in 6 gigahertz. The Wi-Fi Alliance said, yay, we're all friends. There is a working group working on that. There's nothing that's been said in public in the last year. I'm not part of the working group, and I don't know anybody that is. So I don't really have any inside information on what's going on, but presumably they're working on a standard, and sometime in the near future there'll be a 6 gigahertz Bluetooth standard. As far as sort of the second part of the question, haven't we learned enough? Yeah, I think not. it would be wonderful to have, you know, clean spectrum with nothing there but Wi-Fi on it, but I don't see that really ever happening. We certainly don't have it in 2.4. We don't have it in most of 5 gig. Matter of fact, I've even started to see some narrowband interference on 5 gig lately. So there's some non-communication stuff out there. And I think it's going to be the same way on 6 gig. So probably a get used to it sort of thing.
Very good. Any other thoughts or feelings about this, Laurent?
No, I agree with Mike, and like 5G or 2.4. We will see other Wi-Fi interference and non-Wi-Fi interference, and the best will be capable of getting visibility on that to make sure that you have the proper Wi-Fi implementations. But I was even not 100% aware about this Wi-Fi Bluetooth 6 GHz devices. So it's quite going to be very interesting. Let's say.
It is. And I've got, there was a question someone submitted about research, which we'll get to in a second. And during that session, maybe we can do an impromptu surf through the new wireless hype cycle and get you guys some information on Bluetooth and 6E and 7 and all that fun stuff, all this new craziness. Some of those acronyms I'm not even familiar with. So maybe we can take a little time and dive into it.
Awesome. Very good. Well, super exciting. Let's push forward so we can get to that juicy stuff. All right. Don, this one's for you, submitted by our friend Michael. It looks like they got some budget for some events in the second half of the year. Are there any that you would consider attending if you were them?
I love it that you have budget. I love that. So I'm going to share my screen here, Heather, if I can. And that way I found a couple things that may be interesting for the group. I think, you know, one of the things we do poorly in this industry is events. And when there are events, we need to you know, work on them together and promote them together. So this one in particular, so the US Networking User Association, sorry, EMEA, for those of you who are down in from other countries, this one in particular is US only. And I'm going to drop this URL into chat here real quick too, so you can surf here with me. But these guys are actually based in Ohio, and we've been to a handful of these events in Ohio. You know, if you listen to the Packet Pushers podcast, they're great group of people. They sponsor these events too, and 7SIGNAL has in the past. But take a look at the site and scroll down to the bottom. They have these regional networking events for engineers. So these are and I know we have a heavy engineer audience. So come down here and take a look. So they got Manchester coming up, Indianapolis. There's one here in Ohio that I'll be at. Michigan, Connecticut. Heather's going to be at the one in Charlotte coming up in September. They've got Jacksonville, Georgia, Minnesota. So they're spread out all over the place. And I know that, you know, since our audience is so kind of into this community and they come week after week, this company is interested in having folks host these events as well. So if there's a city that you're in that you want to host something, and you're extroverted and you like meeting people, you know, consider giving back to the community this way as well, and decide to host an event. We haven't hosted one. There's no cost to it. The events are totally free as well. This association is a nonprofit, so don't feel like there's, you know, people making money in your back. So they're nice people to work with. So consider we call it the NUG, the Network User Groups, but Network User Association is the name of the group here. So click on that link and give them some love if you're interested. Pretty cool little company here in Ohio. The next one that I wanted to talk about was the Wi-Fi World Congress. There's one coming up in Toronto in September. You can see the dates on here, 18th through 20th. We'll be at this show as well, and I know hey, Beta and was it Cheryl up in Nova Scotia, if this is something you guys can come over to, I'll drop this link into chat as well. We're doing a little different spin at this conference. We're talking about our ISP offering, which is for us our set-top box. So for those of you who aren't aware, the 7SIGNAL agents can now be deployed on Android TV set-top boxes or Google TV set-top boxes, which are really popular in hotels and internet service providers, etc. But you'll see as I scroll through this list. Oh, and see, Beta, we got Matthew is going to be there. So I don't know if you're friends with Matthew or not, but maybe we can hook up over there. I know that Mist is going to be there, Aruba. There's some analysts that are going to be there. So, you know, a good event. This is probably not your expo type event. This is you're going to go sit and listen to leadership talk about what's happening in the industry, what's cool, you know, technologies and terms that you need to be familiar with. Cisco will be there as well. So another option for you all. And this price range, you know, the first thing was free. We're progressively getting a little bit more expensive here. Tickets for this are in the $1,200 range. And for some reason, this time of year in Toronto, and maybe our Canadian friends can tell us why, but hotel prices are extraordinarily high that week. So there must be something amazing going on in town in Toronto that time of year. So the next one here is the Gartner Symposium, and this is the most expensive of them all, and maybe one of the pricier conferences that you'll see. This is the annual Gartner IT Symposium. It's happening October 16th through 19th down in Orlando. You're looking at about, you know, a little over $7,000 US to go and join this. This is their, you know, big deal conference of the year where they'll have, you know, external guest speakers, vendors from all over the place. So for those of you looking to do your one-stop shop at the end of the year and you're planning to do things next year, 7SIGNAL will be here as well. You know, there's a lot of other companies in here that'll be here. We've got a lot of customers that are on this list that'll be here, like Kyndryl and others. So, you know, consider Gartner if depending on what your budget is, consider Gartner for your stuff. And, you know, also a great opportunity to talk and learn about AI as well. So not just the expo, which is a big component of this, unlike the other two conferences I shared. Those are more networking centric and learning, as is this one. But obviously the expo is really what folks go to when they're thinking about the symposium. And I'll drop this link in here as well. And I hope that answers your question. I hope that helps.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, perfect. Get all those events on your calendar, everyone, and come hang out with us. We'd love to see you. All right, moving right along. Laurent, this one's for you. So we're setting the stage here a little bit. So say you have disallowed 802.11b clients in the controller, and now an 802.11b device walks into the area. Questions here are, at what point is the 802.11b client rejected? Does the AP use any processing for this? For example, a cell phone has to analyze every number in the air, or does a client see in the AP beacons that 11b is not allowed?
So 3 questions on that one, but simple can be, the answer can be simple. And at what point the 802.11b client is rejected, it's mainly going to be on the beacon frame. So the exclusion is going to be at the beacon frame. So when the 11b client are disallowed on the Wi-Fi controller or on the AP settings, the AP will not include the support of those AP 11b standard in the beacon frame it broadcast. So the user will not see on the beacon, or it will not be capable of understanding what's in the beacon. So it's going to be seeing that as a kind of, in my understanding, as a noise or interference in the air, because he cannot understand other protocol or 11G and whatsoever. So as there will be also no association attempt, the 802.11 client will not detect the network on its scan list. So the device will even not attempt to associate to the Wi-Fi network. So he will not say, oh, I'm going to send an association request to this AP, because he has no knowledge about what is about this network. So this is my view or my understanding, that it's going to be a NAUS or an interference for the 811B client. It's not going to see the network being broadcasted by the AP, because it's simply being disallowed. It cannot understand the modulations frame being sent on the beacon frame. So cannot understand, interpret it. It's just going to discard, see that as a NAUS or interference.
Very good. Anything else to add, panel?
I think that's right. The client won't see those 802.11g management frames. It will probe for the network that it's looking for, and the access point should not respond. So it is interesting in environments where there is not 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. And we're still, in some cases, running the spectrum analyzer on our Sapphire eyes. The amount of traffic in 2.4 can actually be very noticeable just from clients probing for networks that aren't there in 2.4, because the clients will continue to probe. So they will generate a little traffic from that, but you know, the access point shouldn't respond to it.
Good stuff. Easy peasy. We love it. All right. Moving forward. Don, I have a feeling you might want to share your screen again. For this one. This one's from our friend Greg, asking about Gartner and if they've released any interesting research lately. And I believe they have.
Well, I love that we get those questions. And we've done, if you haven't joined us for our Gartner kind of deep dives, we've done DEM and a couple other subjects, which we love doing. And so I appreciate the question. So let me share my screen. There's a couple things that I thought were interesting. So two very new ones, and one an update in March. And you know, don't tell Gartner I'm doing this. I don't have distribution rights to either of these, so I can't share the research itself. But you know, I can certainly talk to their findings. And for those of you who are Gartner customers, which I know our customer base and the folks that that are considering 7SIGNAL are heavy users of Gartner, and you know, in some cases, Gartner is the one who referred you to us. So we're happy to evangelize Gartner. So you know, what we talked through is all Gartner research and their words, but you know, this is really cool. So the market share analysis for enterprise network equipment, I thought would be pretty cool. Now this says 2022 on it, but you can see the numbers were updated just back in May. So interesting data. So what's fun about this is, you know, you can see the growth, and I won't read through all these bullets, but you know, this sector is growing in leaps and bounds, and that's not just what we think. You know, we take advantage of. Well, you know, people are upgrading. It's a normal upgrade cycle to 6 or 6E, or you know, some people are waiting for 7, and that is the case. But with this research in particular, and the reason I like it is that you can see the growth over time. You know, in this case, it's from 2021. So it'll look at whole year 2021 to 2022, and these are in billions. And on the left is the segment that they're selling into. So you can see the enterprise LAN, you know, out of the total network market, or the enterprise market for networking, it takes up 61% of that revenue, which is interesting. So, and you can also see that it's growing at almost a 20% clip. So switches, you know, what makes up that revenue, as you can see, data center revenue. It's just cool to kind of scroll through here. And then wireless LAN specifically, you know, if you juxtapose it to the LAN revenue, it's dwarfed, right? So we're talking still billions, you know, from 7 billion in revenue in 21 jumps to 9 billion in 22. and some nice growth numbers there. So again, these are whole year numbers as you look at. Just impressive numbers. And then, more importantly, I know that you all are more interested in this, like who's leading the way, and what do their revenue numbers look like. For those of you who own Cisco stock, you've probably seen a nice jump in revenue. They had a 32% growth year in 2022. Their other research indicates that they're on I think it was an 18% revenue growth for this year already, which, most of the stuff is back-ended Q3, Q4 for Cisco and others. Just, dominating, as you can see, 21 billion, the next highest is 5 billion for Huawei. HPE down there at 4, Arista at 6, previously 5, so it dropped a little spot. Palo Alto climbing a little bit, but still, I don't want to say a rounding error, so we're still talking billions. But a lot of folks are talking about Palo Alto and meteoric rise. As you can see, the numbers are still small compared to the Ciscos and HPs. So a lot of that is hype, and they do a great job of marketing over there at Juniper. But revenue numbers are still small comparatively speaking. So it's just interesting to see how all these figures lay out. So that's the first one I thought that was interesting. And again, that's the market share analysis. The next I thought was pretty cool, and I brought this up at the beginning when we got that first question. I didn't think through how to pull it all the way through to relate it, but Gartner just released their hype cycle for wireless technologies. And I hope you guys can read this screen and the font's not too small. But if there's anything you guys want to double click on, let me know, and I can bring the definitions up and that kind of stuff. There's a ton of new acronyms in here that I'm not familiar with, and as most of this audience knows, we focus mainly on Wi-Fi, though our roadmap is looking into things like private 5G and other things as our customer base continues to evolve, especially in outdoors and heavy duty industrial. And we've had a ton of great webinars for this group around our Dirty Job series, and we talked about outdoor Wi-Fi and private 5G for F1 races. Please go to YouTube or one of the academies to access those pieces of content. But this is really interesting, and it'll walk you through new technologies. We had a Bluetooth question around Bluetooth earlier. So there's a lot of different kinds of Bluetooth. So, if you're talking about Bluetooth Classic, for example, you'll see that is, the more general use of Bluetooth, but that's all the way at the right-hand side, which is, where technologies are hoping to get to, and they don't fizzle out before getting to that, what Gartner refers to as the plateau of productivity. But also you've got your Bluetooth low energy that this content will walk you through. What's also cool is note the colors of the dots. If you haven't already realized that, Gartner puts a time frame on these technologies. So like 6G, for example, this is a 10 plus year waiting period to get to maturity. So think of that if you're considering different types of technologies internally, look at the time frames. So you want to be sure not to jump on something too quickly. There's probably a reason for it. This document in particular walks through business impacts, drivers, and then most importantly are the obstacles to these sorts of things. So you'll want to, for those of you who have Gartner access, and for those of you who don't, I'm happy to talk on a one-off basis. Shoot me an email. I think by now all of you have my email address, but shoot me an email, and I'm happy to walk through this kind of stuff. And while I can't share the documentation because we don't have distribution rights to all of these documents, I think the one that we do have right now, Heather, if I'm not mistaken, is our digital experience market guide.
Yep.
but if at all this group would like to have a deeper dive in any of this content, shoot us a note as well, because I'll get distribution rights and we'll do a full webinar on any of these topics. So there's other Bluetooth things like in here, like Bluetooth ESL as well. So the list goes on and on, but super cool for those of you who like to see what's coming down the pike. Everything starts with an innovation trigger with Gartner. So the further left they are and the lower they are the newest technologies. So, keep your eye down in this left-hand corner by the x-axis to really see what's coming in the future. So the other hype cycle that I thought was interesting, also released at the same time, was the CSP networks infrastructure. Same kind of flavor with the timetable along the bottom and your color coding based on the technologies. Some of these are the same topics from the other wireless wireless hype cycle, but a little bit different flavor because of it's a different audience here. But again, any type of content that you think is pretty cool or would be fun for the audience to learn more about, I'd be happy to tackle. But these are the three that I thought were the most interesting. So again, these two hype cycles are brand new. So network infrastructure and wireless. And then my go-to is that, that market guide that walks through the market share for vendors, which is really cool. And then when the new, the kind of go-to research that we'll continue to share with you all, the Magic Quadrants, when the new Magic Quadrants come out, that's another one that we did for this group as well. And we can certainly talk to those as they come out, and we'll talk through everyone's experiences with vendors and that kind of fun stuff. Those aren't webinars that we archive, so keep that in mind as well. For Gartner's benefit, we want people to access the content through Gartner, so we don't record it and put it on YouTube forever. So these will be one-time sessions. So when you do see a Gartner topic that we're going to talk to, make sure you join us live, because we won't share that topic again. Heather, I hope that answered Greg's question. Thanks for the question.
You did. Amazing stuff. Yeah, we'll have to consider that. If y'all have interest in more about that hype cycle, we're happy to do a session on it. So let us know. All righty. Should be back in action over here with a question loaded for Mike. All right, we're talking mounting APs. They want to mount a ceiling type AP in the basement that's intended for coverage on floors 1 and 2 of their home. They want to place it in the floor joist of the first floor. The question is, should they mount it upside down such that it is pointed upwards? What are your thoughts?
I think probably so. Most access points that are intended to be ceiling mounted have a radiation pattern that favors down and out into the room below it. So yeah, I think most likely if it's mounted face up, with the back down into the basement, it's going to radiate more upwards. It can be a little hard to say for sure. Propagation can be tricky. I would certainly rather move that access point up onto the first or second floor instead of shooting through the basement or the first floor if I could. But if you have to, yeah, probably pointed upward is going to be better.
Very good. Pretty simple, straightforward answer there. So it sounds
I think so.
Amazing.
You can't guarantee it. Propagation can indeed be tricky. That's why we actually go do site surveys. You can't always predict very accurately.
Yeah.
You have to try the best, try it, and you will see if it's okay. Otherwise, you will have to adapt.
Yeah. But that would be my first guess, is pointed out.
Yeah.
Such is the life of Wi-Fi. Just got to try. All right. Very good. All right. Moving to question 6. This is for Laurent. All right, legend has it that I should use exclusively the 5 gigahertz band for mission critical SSIDs. Is there merit to this tale?
That's
Fun
a good
phrasing.
tale. Yeah.
I like that this person can write too. This,
Yeah.
that's great.
Writing a whole story.
I'll tell a story to my boss.
Yes.
Well, we do recommend to move away from 2.4 and go to the 5 gigahertz band, definitively. However, my one answer to this question would be, yeah, it really depends on the environment. So where we are looking for that. So the type of industry, the type of devices, the environment, the different factors. So it's essential to understand the context and the factors involved to make a decisions. If you have done proper testing, spectrum analysis, site survey, you know the type of devices you have in your environment, so the supported devices, then you may have also a better elements to decide. But we still do see 2.4 gigahertz being used a lot, and it really depends. So we do know in most cases that we move away from 2.4, go to the 5 gigahertz band due to the number of channels available. There are more interferences on 2.4, and you have more congestion and lower throughput. So that's the reason why you want to optimize the user experience to the 5 gigahertz band. You have more channel available, better throughput. So it's really important. So, but it's essential to consider the environment and all those factors to take the decision. So we do have a couple of customer use case where they have a mixed environment and they are deciding to move to the 5 gigahertz band only for specific type of device, laptops, on their enterprise office, and they want to stay on the 2.4 gigahertz band for specific type of device, either because it's a very old type of what we call legacy device, or because this is still specific to the sector. On the manufacturing or warehouse, they are using scanners, and those scanners might still be running only on 2.4 gigahertz band. So it really depends. So if you know the type of device you have, then you can decide. But then the answer could be a mixed environment. Think about manufacturing and warehousing, where you have legacy device support. There are older type of device. They may support only 2.4 gigahertz band, so you need to broadcast 2.4 gigahertz network SSID. If those devices are crucial to your operations, you definitively need to the 2.4. On the healthcare environment, you have a mix of devices, or the medical equipment might still be running on the 2.4, so you may need to have a 2.4 gigahertz band enabled. Moving to the 5 gigahertz band, we do see, especially with our customer, high-density environments, enterprise offices, education sector, on those environments where you have a lot of devices, you want to optimize, avoid interferences and get a good throughput, then you may need to have only 5 gigahertz band for them. It will help to reduce interferences between all those access points and get better performance. If you have critical applications, high performance applications, I saw on one of the Gartner page about Wi-Fi coming in the futures, something's about Wi-Fi 7, and we talk about 8K applications, 8K video applications, live streaming whatsoever. Then in that case, you do need to have a good throughput and good performance. So you will go for those critical type of applications. Definitively, you have to go to the 5 gigahertz bands if you don't want to have users complaining and you don't want to spend time trying to find out what's happening in the network. So yeah, that's definitively depending on the use case. So in many scenario, a combination of both bands can still provide a good Wi-Fi environment and a robust Wi-Fi environment, but it's really up to you to decide based on the different factors in your environment. So the most important is to make sure that all your devices, all your supported devices does or run on 5 gigahertz bands. I don't know, Mike, if you have any comment on that.
Yeah, I think that pretty well sums it up. We found, a lot of times for what we call carpeted spaces, corporate offices, that sort of thing, it's very frequently possible to move to 5 gig where we don't have to support those legacy devices. Manufacturing, warehousing, outdoors, maybe not so much. But something that's really clear on both products, but Mobileye, I think it really stands out, is you can watch a client roam back and forth between 2.4 and 5 gigahertz and compare the performance. And it can be really dramatic how much better 5 gigahertz is. It's not universal. I was just on with a customer a couple days ago that has a robotics application, and they found that while they had interference problems at 2.4, they had coverage problems at 5 gigahertz, and their application was more tolerant to interference than coverage problems. So yeah, there's definitely some situations where you're going to have to use 2.4, but if you can reasonably turn it off and use 5 gigahertz only, certainly the performance is going to be better.
Yeah, no, good.
Very good. All right, let's press on forward into question number 7. This one's for Mike. All right, we've got another scenario here talking about their environment that has users doing large file downloads on a regular basis. And this is causing some high channel utilization and congestion issues. I've heard about QoS over Wi-Fi. It seems like this will just create more traffic and increase channel congestion. Is this true, or is there something else going on I don't understand yet? What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I don't know that we've done a QoS webinar. I know we did a power save webinar, but I don't know if we've done one on QoS. But really the way, in general, the QoS on Wi-Fi works is it changes the device's, the amount of time it has to wait before it can access the media. So all the Wi-Fi devices, as part of the contention arbitration, are going to listen to the media and set some countdown timers to give some space in there for other clients to get onto the channel. And the way QoS works is it's going to change the values of those timers. So voice or video applications are going to have faster access to the medium. When they need to transmit a packet, they will have to wait less. So with these large file download applications, if you could assign them to background priority, they will have to wait longer to access the media, giving your other clients, your voice, your video, even your best effort clients, a better chance to get on and transmit their traffic. And it doesn't really add overhead to the network. I've never tried with assigning lower background priority to big file transfers. I have certainly seen a big difference in assigning voice priority to voice calls. That makes a big difference. And I would hope that assigning background priority to your big file transfer tasks would help as well. So yeah, I think so. And it doesn't really add overhead to the network. We're not transmitting extra for that. We're just changing the timers, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
just
Any
changing
thoughts?
the priority. So I don't.
Yeah.
It's not creating more traffic or increase the congestion. Just so.
Very
Yeah.
good. All right. This one is for you, Laurent. Question number 8. Which channel is better to use in 5 gigahertz? This is actually one that carried over from like Q&A from last week's webinar. So which channel is better to use in 5 gigahertz when over 500 people are using the network? What do you think?
Yeah, good question. And we know that the default and most used channel are on UNI1, channel 36 to 48. That is part of the default configuration. So I would say you may need to avoid them as very used, which may result in overlap in channel use. But when you are dealing with high density environment with such 500 people or more, yeah, you need to reduce interference, non-overlapping channel, and you need to make sure that you will support every devices depending on the channel you will use. So a safe deployment are usually from channel 36 to 48 on Uni 1 and 149 to 165. But then you may need to do a site survey to see if you have a lot of noise enabled, which channel are already in use. So try to avoid them, to avoid interferences. But it's also important to understand the device, the device pool when working on the channel planning. If you know those devices, or if you don't know, probably 500, I don't know, except if you are on a corporate environment, but otherwise you will not know exactly the type of devices, but you need to support them all. So a mix of channel is very important, I believe. And it also depends, the supported channel depends on the regulation in each country. Each country don't have the same regulation. So the same as the previous question I answered is, if you have done proper testing and spectrum analysis and you know the type of devices, then you have better element to take the decisions. But definitively, you may need more AP in the environment to load balance all those people from different AP using different channel. That's the most important on the channel plan. What we have seen a lot on high density environment customer, and we had recently one in the beginning of July during a championship tournament, is that you mix those channel. You look at making sure that this AP that you are implementing are not creating co-channel interference or adjacent channel interference, and then you look at what's happening in the air. So we have seen with our Sapphire during that tournament with thousands of people over there that some channels are tricky. For instance, channel 149, we have seen an error band on channel 149, and then we know, well, we have seen that it is used for Apple TV peer-to-peer. They are using channel 6 and channel 149. So this is something that might interfere. And we do see quite often as well on Uni 3, non-Wi-Fi interference coming from motion detector. So we do see that as well. So you need to have that on the spectrum analyzer. This is what we have seen with our Sapphire during the live events, trying to understand what's happening, and we noticed that. And then we do have as well the DFS from channel 52 to 140 on Uni 2 and Uni 2 extended, and those one could be used depending on where you are, but those are specific channel, and you have to be careful because the access point may change automatically the channel if it detects a radar on that one. So you have the weather radar that use channel from channel 120 to 128. And on this channel, if it works, the access point will have to listen first on the radar signal for 10 minutes before transmitting. So you have a long delay. When on the other channel from 152 or 140, avoiding 120, 128, this will start a delay in 1 minute on the DFS channel. So just avoid using 120, from 120 to 128 as well. So you may need to do a kind of site survey or have a regular visibility in your environment to make sure that you don't have any new noisy neighbor coming into your channel, into your configurations. What we have seen as well, and it was interesting because I've seen that when I read my CWS book and passed the exam, is Mike Albano, I don't know if you know, but has a client database listing all devices, that's which channel they support and what are their capabilities. And on this list, we can see that channel 144 can be used, but according to his research and all the devices he tracked, 60% of them, 60% of the device don't support channel 144, which might be expected because we still have a lot of 802.11n type of devices. So you see, you can use different channel on different AP. You might use the DFS channel, but be careful about those one. And a safe deployment, is Uni 1, Uni 3, but they are being used by most of the access points. So just make sure that you can select the best one. And then you can also consider, but that's not part of the questions, using a 20 megahertz channel wide or 40. For high density environment, don't use 80 or 160 megahertz wide channel. You will be having a lot of problem. I hope it helped answering the questions, but yeah.
Mike, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think Lauren covered it pretty thoroughly. You know, the local regulations are going to matter. Other interferers, both non-Wi-Fi and other Wi-Fi devices outside of your control, are going to be using some channels. I mean, I think the short answer is all of the channels that you can use, you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want it to give a short answer like that. Either you're asked to give a long answer. I tried to give a long answer.
Very good.
Yeah, sorry, Laurent. I might have condensed that just a little bit too much.
Every channel can be used. Just make sure, and you know which one you are going to use. Yeah.
All right. My, oh my, we are already pretty close to the top of the hour. So this one we'll have to do pretty quickly, but it's a fun one. So what should everyone be reading? Don, you can start, but if anyone else has any thoughts, quickly let us know. Well, first he'll have to get off mute and then he can answer.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's actually funny and good that we're running out of time on this one, because I put both of those questions together when I was reading that at a time. So I included that in my Gartner stuff. So I apologize as a separate question. The one kind of off the wall book that I'm reading that you all should take a look at, and it's got a bad word in the title, so I can't say it out loud, but it's called The Art of Not Giving an F. Take a look at that. It's a terrific book, and they made us a movie out of it, which is on Netflix as well. It's a terrific read, and for those of you who get anxiety around work or get stressed out, it's a great opportunity. It's fun, kind of funny to read. So that's what I'll give back at that question.
That very good. Guys, Mike or Laurent, any other?
Well, I just have one. I don't know if you can read that. The
oxygen advantage.
Yeah, the oxygen advantage. That's what I'm reading for sports. Oxygen in your body is crucial. So I'm trying to learn that, how I can get my body using 100% of the oxygen. And this is very nice to read. Nothing to do with Wi-Fi, but it helped to de-stress as well. And yeah, no, that's what I'm reading. And you see, it's on my desk.
It's really real.
No, yeah, no bad words in the title of that one.
Right. Mike, what do you have anything you're reading? No.
Yeah, I really don't. No books for the summer for me.
How about a binge watching show?
You know, this isn't a brag, but I haven't turned on the television in a couple of days.
Oh my goodness.
Brag. I don't know if you can even see it. No, because of the blur effect. There's like a sweet spot in Zoom that you could see it. Well, you can see it's kind of a smiley face. It's called the happiness advantage. The 7 principles of positive psychology that fuel success and performance at work. So always a good read. And it's an easy read. It's not gigantic. I don't know if you can see, but very good. Right. One binge watching show for everyone. If you like sci-fi, watch The Foundation on Apple TV. Second season is now out too. It's terrific. Oh, good. We're going to have to open up the webinar asking people's favorite binge watches of the summer for sure. Mine are all shameful because they're all reality TV. I watched all of Vanderpump Rules in the course because I wanted to know about the scandal. There's a big scandal, people, but I digress. All right. Well, just like that, we're out of time. If you have follow-up questions, there is that link from the reminder emails that went out, the form to submit questions. Keep them coming. I'll put it in the follow-up email tomorrow too, so that we can keep having these for the next session. But thank you all for being here. Thanks, panel, Mike, Laurent, and Dawn, for being with us today. And you know where we will all be, same time, same place, the last weekend, or the last Wednesday of August. We will see you there. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Heather. Thank you.